Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the crypto news here, and I got this aggressively average content for you today. As here we have a thread by Jeremy Hogan stating the #1 reason why XRP is not a security. But before I get into that, ladies and gentlemen, the whole reason all of this is happening and still lingering in the entire market is because of the SEC and Gary Gensler. But you know, it's crazy. My life works in mysterious ways because I was just in LA the other day and across my path I saw Gary Gensler. He doesn't know who I am nor what I look like. However, I caught him in the act putting on quite a performance as opposed to him fulfilling his duties as the head of the SEC and the most important financial markets on the planet. You know, I probably just got an algorithm boost for showing this, but all jokes aside, Gary Gensler has been nothing but an extreme waste of time and an extreme ticking time bomb for the crypto market as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, the #1 reason why XRP cannot be a security is because of the definition of a security. XRP did not meet what I believe is the definition of an investment contract, and that's ultimately what you will need to understand using the current law and definitions that we have access to today. XRP does not fit what it means to be a security, and I think the judge will decide the exact same thing. And with having that in mind, you should also know that Waters Above believes we should be reaching the 83-cent mark very soon. I believe more positive price action is in store for XRP in the coming days, weeks, and months, and all of you need to prepare for it. We've been here for a long time with the suppressed price, but the rollout of a brand new financial system is happening at an accelerated rate to the point where central bank digital currencies are a mainstream talking point. I never in my life believed that specs would be in the mainstream, and it's actually getting political. It's beginning to look like Republicans are more anti-CBDC, anti-surveillance, anti-social credit score, while on the other hand, the supranational organizations, the central banks, they're pro-CBDCs. I never in my wildest dreams believed central bank digital currencies would be political, as I thought they would simply try to squeeze it into a bill and sneak it on us. But right now we're having a mainstream conversation about it. And if we have enough people discussing this very topic, then maybe we can have a favorable outcome in this new digital world.
They eventually want to get rid of most banks. Now, the big ones are too big to fail. But in the end, the ultimate objective is to essentially wipe all of the banks out so that your bank will be the Federal Reserve. Everything will be centralized. And again, this is not really about the money, although of course it is. This is about power and control, because the government, such as it is, will have access to all of the information related to every single transaction you make. You buy a stick of gum, the government will know. You buy a new car, the government will know. Oh, you bought the wrong car. You didn't buy an EV. Now you're going to get penalized. So in the end, Sean, this is really a move toward a CCP-style social credit system. And they're using this move to a central bank digital currency as the biggest lever to try to get us there.
It's important to note that other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is decentralized. This will be centralized within the government. Bitcoin is a technology for freedom. This is a technology for control. I mentioned this to you before. I brought my prop. I got a $20 bill. I can use this $20 bill however I choose, for meat, for guns, for even illicit purposes. But when the government controls the dollar, they can control, as we talked about in the report, whether you can buy a firearm, how much gas you can buy, how much electricity you can buy. Can you buy meat, or do you have to buy bug-based meat? They can control everything that you purchase with a digital dollar, and whether you can purchase anything.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, that is one side of the aisle describing a central bank digital currency. And here we have Christine Lagarde, current head of the European Central Bank, discussing what she believes are the positives of X. But she tells a lot of truth. These two clips let you know what the central bank digital currency and game really is. And remember, for context, that Christine Lagarde was in super high-level meetings with Brad Darlinghouse. Her and Brad were very buddy-buddy. Her and Brad really enjoyed each other's company. I believe they talked a lot about XRP during those meetings, so keep that in mind as the central bank digital currency infrastructure for the planning. It's closer than it's ever been before. I believe she stated by October, a digital euro could be introduced to the world, and keep that in mind while all of you listen.
Everything is going digital. People are clearly expressing a preference for it, and there is no reason why we, as a central bank, should not be exploring also the reason why digital cash can be of good use. And as my colleague and friend Francois calls it, he says it's cash plus, because it is digital. Now, it is intended to be safe, it is intended to be sovereign, and it is intended to be available to all anywhere, anytime, and at the cheapest possible cost, possibly at no cost for the most basic functions. Possibly at no cost for the most basic functions.
Well, I have a question about,
yeah.
I'm also a good user of electronic money. So my question, you're introducing the electronic euro, as I know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how can switching to an electronic currency help?
Well, two things. Number one, it will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm personally convinced that we have to move ahead is a situation like the one we are in now. We are
Mm-hmm.
dependent on the supply of gas by a very unfriendly country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Europe to be dependent on an unfriendly country's currency. For instance, I don't know, the Chinese currency, the Russian currency, the
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or dependent on a friendly currency, but which is activated by a private corporate entity like Facebook or like Google or anybody like that.
I'm user of Bitcoin too, so I had bought it when it started, and I hope that it also will work through the special system. And I know there are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
It's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask in Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the e-euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold above 1,000 euros. You cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market. You take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But the digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control. You're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous. The terrorist attacks on France back 10 years ago were entirely financed by those very small anonymous credit cards that you can recharge in total anonymity.
Now, guys, I find that so interesting. In the end, after being pressed heavily about the programmability of central bank digital currencies, Christine Lagarde goes to the notion of protecting against illicit financing, terrorist financing, because that's the only justification they can give for why they want to bring on all these controls. You want safety. Trade us your privacy and we promise we won't abuse it, but we know that's a lie. We know that once they have full control, they will eventually abuse it, and that's the problem. We're heading into a period in history where a fight needs to be had against financial tyranny. But I've said this time and time again, it is an inevitability. The most powerful institutions on the planet, the central banks, the people that control trillions upon trillions of dollars of the world's money, they're going to implement this, and there's no way to stop it. So I've positioned my chips in accordance with that fact, and I will profit handsomely and do my best to remain as free as possible for as long as possible with those profits. You cannot be self-righteous when it comes to your money. You have to make money, and that's the bottom line. Now, guys, to cap off this video for today, I have this tweet from Sir Clown Sniper. This goes along with my video from yesterday. He stated, "The truth is if Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz of Ripple would publicly acknowledge, that XRP riddlers are nonsense and maybe Ripple XRP and the XRPL can be taken more seriously in the crypto space. This would not affect the XRP price at all because whales don't follow riddles. And David Schwartz 100% agrees. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make myself clear. I don't mind riddles. I find them to be entertaining. Maybe some of them are actually insiders, but the fact of the matter is nobody has been able to interpret them correctly. Dates get thrown out constantly that are never right, and people think of hypothetical prices in their mind that XRP can reach, and yet we're at $0.50 5 years later. I've been here since 2018 in the XRP community, and we have yet to break $2. We're still at $0.50, and while I believe astronomical values for XRP will come one day, it's time to get the facts right so that you could profit realistically, actually free yourself, and then plan for the long term as well. All I want for every single one of you is for your lives to improve. I'm a long-term generational wealth builder, and I believe XRP will be the best digital asset for that. But we need to get things right, and every single day we're getting closer to the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Crypto News here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.